What's going down, D-Gens? Welcome back. Thank you, my degenerate family, for keeping the support going. I appreciate it. So, before I get started with this, guys, I just full disclosure, because we've been talking a little bit now that we're getting closer to football, and I talk to you guys every year, and we're friends, right? I just got back from vacation, and I want to start with a little story time because this is a little different. Every year, go with the family, have like a beach trip, something like that, right? And I don't mean just like my kids and my wife. I mean mom, dad, aunt, uncles, cousins, all the things, right? So we all go. We usually stay in a big house somewhere on a beach. So we go to the beach. Probably like the second day we're there. Again, this is a huge house, like a three-story house, right? 3 stories and a loft. I'm on the first floor, and it's just me and my family there on the bottom. I'm getting clothes out of a bag, and I see this shadow run by, right? Personally, I believe in all that stuff, and so I'm like, you know what? Either one, it was somebody just, maybe a different angle in the room, although I'm the only person in the room at the time, or my eyes were playing tricks on me, maybe like something because I came out of the sun, I was just outside. I don't know. I'm going to try to pretend like I didn't see that, right? So, put it out of my mind. Don't think about it again. We're there for like 5 days. All right, so the last morning we wake up next to my wife, look at her. First thing out of her mouth, she says, "Hey, now that we're leaving, have you seen anything here?" And I said, "What do you mean?" And she tells me she was on the second floor in one of the bedrooms, actually where my mom and dad are at, and that she was, washing her hands or whatever, and they have like a master closet there, and that she sees a face come up behind her. She gets freaked out, right? Okay, cool. I believe her. I'm like, hey, yeah, I did see something. I try to pretend it wasn't there. I'm glad that you saw something too, because now I don't feel crazy. So she's like, all right. And then she tells me later on, she says, you know what? In that restroom, I was using the restroom, and the way that it's set up, it's like it's cut off from the rest of the room. So it's like the closet and the restroom all in one thing. It's a weird layout, but she's like, yeah, I saw something in that same closet like dart by, and I thought it was a shadow or like something too. But she said, I saw that first, and then I saw the face when I was washing my hands. I was like, all right, cool, well, whatever, right? It's just us. So again, try to put out our heads. This is the last day. Like, we're literally packing up, getting ready to leave. So as I'm packing up, we're telling the kids, like, hey, get your stuff. We're going to stop by one last gift shop on the way out, and that's pretty much it. We stop at this gift shop. I'm looking around. My daughter comes up to me. My daughter is almost an adult, right? And she's like, hey, that house was haunted, right? And I was like, what? What do you mean? And she tells me that she, who was sleeping on the second floor, like in the living room of the second floor with my other cousins and stuff, she kept feeling something grabbing her leg when she'd go to sleep. And from where she was laying at, which is like the couch, she could see into like one of the hallways where the bedrooms and the bathrooms were at. And she's like, yeah, something was staring at me. And I'd wake up at like 2 or 3 in the morning, and I could feel it staring at me, and I'd look that way, and I was having like a staring contest with this damn shadow. And she's like, I'm actually really happy we're leaving. And she never says that. Like, my daughter loves the beach. And so she was like, no, I'm really happy we're leaving. It was creeping me out. So I was like, wow. And so I was like, okay, this is kind of weird, but whatever. My dad hears us. My dad says, that's weird. I kept feeling like somebody was sitting on my chest. Like the entire time we were there. Every time I laid in my bed, it felt like someone was sitting on my chest. And I would wake up and I'd have trouble breathing and all this stuff. And like, my dad's a healthy guy. Like, no problems. Tip-top shape, right? So I was like, wow, okay, this is some weird shit. And then my dad tells my mom, because my dad had not, again, none of us had brought this up the entire time we're there because we didn't want to like scare the hell out of each other. So he tells my mom. My mom says, I did hear somebody drop something. I heard somebody walking around, and I heard them drop something, but I thought it was my daughter because she was staying on that living room area. And then she got up at like 3 in the morning to check. My daughter's asleep. And so she's like, I don't know who it was, but I just assumed somebody in the house had been up. And she's like, I put it out of my mind. The only thing that creeped me out is that I heard little kids talking. Now, I have kids, and my youngest one is, 8. So he's old enough to sound like a little kid, but he's also young enough to be in bed. Like, he's asleep by like 10:30 tops. So definitely not him. And there was only one other semi-little kid there, and again, like, definitely not awake at these times of night. So we all had like an experience there. I start looking into it because I'm like, man, like, this is weird. Like, has anybody else ever had this? I was like, are there any reports on this house? I start looking into it. The house that we had been staying in just recently became a vacation house, right? So it's like maybe within a year and a half, but it used to belong to this couple. So I look up the county records and the tax records. The couple that sold it, one of them was still alive. The dad, or the man, the husband, whatever, he had passed away years ago. But the woman was still alive that had previously owned it, and they sold it to this like investment company. So I look her up just to see who she is, if I can find anything. We got there on the 10th of July. When I look up her name, I find out she passed away on the 9th of July. Could be just a coincidence. Creepy as shit. In the middle of July, at the beach, like bright, sunny, hot. So yeah, I don't know. Had to get that off my chest. Had to share it with someone other than just like the people that were there with me. But think I'm full of shit if you want. I'm just telling you, it's not just me. Like, we had a lot of people. If anybody wants to go stay at a haunted house, I got an address for you. But let's get into the picks before I start gossiping over here. So we're up to preseason week 3. Preseason week 3, I got 4 different picks for you. I left the notes on the side, so if you want to just read that, you don't want to listen to my shitty voice, go ahead. You have right at it. So the 4 games here: Jaguars at Dolphins, number 1. McDaniels, coach for the Dolphins, he's 0-2 in final preseason games. Just for whatever reason hasn't showed up. Maybe he doesn't care. He's not treating it like super serious. He's trying to, just stay healthy before the season starts. Whatever his rationale is, he has not really been putting his best foot forward that last week of the season. Again, it's all kind of speculative. He could, hey, I got a hair up my ass today, I'm going to go ahead and try. I don't think he is. I think he's going to continue doing what he was doing, especially because the guys on his team like Tua, even like Tyreek, and they don't really want to get them hurt. They're like sports cars, right? They don't want to get them out there and put all these unnecessary miles on them, even if it's just a tweak, right? Like, you don't want to be messing with that going into the season. So that leads me to believe the Jaguars have a very real possibility of winning that game in week 3. The Jaguars, with Liam Cohen, obviously new coach, as we've discussed before, a lot of these new coaches, I fully expect them to put their best foot forward in the preseason for reasons I've explained before, but they're looking to basically get off with a good start, right? And that's usually the case. It doesn't always work out. They don't always go like 3-0, but a lot of the times we at least see them try in the preseason, unlike some of these other coaches that have been around for a little bit. So the other part of this is the Jaguars. I actually expect them to get off to kind of a slower start in the preseason because they're going to start off playing against the Steelers and the Saints. The Steelers traditionally do pretty decently, at least go kind of like 1-2, 2-1 in the preseason. That coaching staff, they're just, they don't go out and like try to get people injured, but they're going to put some sort of emphasis on, hey, we need to start building a culture in that preseason. Now, they have a lot of veterans on their team, like Aaron Rodgers and DK Metcalf. They're not going to want to get them hurt, but I would fully expect that they're going to at least have some sort of showing, to get everybody on the same page, at least in that first week of preseason. Then we have the Saints. So in week 2, they move on to play the Saints with Kellen Moore, a guy you guys know I'm high on. The Saints, I'm sure you've heard, if you're listening to this, you're definitely listening to other football stuff. There's like no expectation for the Saints, right? And it's a good thing. I mean, for Kellen Moore at least, he's not expected to go in there and turn these guys into a playoff team. He's not going in there expecting to get this 12-5 record or whatever it may be. He's going on there with basically the lowest of low in expectations. He's really just trying to go in there and make it look like he knows what the hell he's doing. So I do expect them. So in saying that, I expect the Saints, or at least Kellen Moore, right, to try and get something going in the preseason. Just like I've been saying with all these other, brand new coaches. The difference is the Saints don't have veteran or they don't have a lot of key veteran players, right? Like their quarterback, whoever it may be, is gonna be a pretty young guy. We're expecting it to be Tyler Shuck or Shaw or whatever the hell you say his name, and he's obviously a rookie. But even like Rattler and Hayner, like those guys are not proven commodities. So it's not like you're gonna get in there and be like, oh man, like we're not putting in our starter. They're gonna go ahead and put in whoever the hell they think is gonna give them the best chance to win, to get a true evaluation. Regardless of whether it's the rookie or Rattler or whatever, Kellen Moore is going to need to see as many reps from these guys as he can. And yes, they're going to have joint practices, and yes, they're going to practice a lot, and they're going to have training camp and all that stuff. But I don't think that any one of these guys is so much better than the others that they're going to really try and spare one or the other. Same thing even with like Olave, and I would say Kamara, maybe not, but for sure like Olave and Rashid Shaheed. Yes, you don't want to get those guys hurt. Yes, they are more like veteran players, but the thing is, when you're trying to get your quarterback established, you can't go in there and give him all the third stringers and expect to make him, look like an all-star, or like to see what he can really do. So I expect not that they're going to necessarily play their starters the entire game, but that the Saints, more games than not in the preseason, you're going to see a pretty full showing from these guys, at least for a full half. And they're going to try to put up some points. They're going to try to win. And so maybe the Jaguars win that game. Maybe they don't. But either way, I think it's going to be a tough game for them to win, especially because they are not in that situation, right? They have like a Trevor Lawrence who they're definitely not going to be playing him the full game. They don't want him to get dinged up. They have Christian Kirk, or I'm sorry, they got rid of Christian Kirk. They have just older pieces, even like, ETN and Tank Bigsby and these guys. They're not, 40 years old or anything, but they're not brand new. They're not rookies. They're not guys they are trying to put in there and get hurt. So again, I just really think that's going to be a tough game for them to win, especially if they don't decide to go all out in that particular game. This may be their best shot to get a win. And so if they are sitting at 0-2, and if they have actually been trying to win, that's important. Obviously, keep an eye on that, because if they're just getting blown out and it's like 35-0, they don't really give a shit, then I doubt it's going to matter in game 3. But if they appear to be trying to win and Liam Cohen is putting these guys in position and they just keep losing or keep kind of, having last moment issues, I do think you could really see them give you a full effort week 3 against a Dolphins team that is not going to show that same type of commitment to week 3 of the preseason. So give me that look now. Next, we have the Chargers and the 49ers. This is really quick. Harbaugh has never lost the final preseason game, regardless of what team it was, back when he was with the 49ers, the Chargers, whether the preseason was 4 weeks or 3 weeks. The last week of the preseason, this guy is taking seriously. He wants to leave it on a good note. He wants to start the regular season on a good note. He's putting in his starters. He's getting the best out of them. He's trying to kind of manage minutes, obviously, but he's trying to get the win. So now I think maybe it is a true, like, hey, we're trying to fill out the end of the roster here, or maybe it's just, hey, I want to get a good culture going. Whatever it is, Harbaugh has never lost that final preseason game in his career as a head coach. So really easy, especially because 49ers, Shanahan, again, one of these guys who's not super committed to preseason. So, again, Chargers, easy look there. Rams at Browns. Rams, we've been picking on them for the entire preseason at this point. It's not going to change now. One thing to note on this one, though, is that the Browns, while they have lost both of their last games over the last 2 years in the preseason, they have both been shootouts. They have put up over 30 points in both those games. Stefanski is definitely coming out trying to win. It just so happened that he had matched up against other teams that were also really trying in those last 2 weeks. Both of those games obviously went over, right? So in this game, again, the Rams, even if Sean McVay were to give someone else the reins on this one, who knows what kind of commitment they're going to have to really trying to win this game, especially because guys like Stafford, they don't want to get hurt. Puka has a tendency to get hurt. Kyron Williams, he's really like their go-to guy for running back. They don't want to put those guys out there. So give me the Browns to win this game in week 3 of the preseason. And then lastly, the Vikings and Titans. Same thing here as we talked about previously. Titans, again, from last year, they went 3-0. Coaching staff has a 100% win rate in the preseason. That's probably not going to be the same again this year, but the Vikings are not the team I see, beating them. Vikings, Kevin O'Connell, just again, another coach that just doesn't really take it seriously, isn't putting a lot of effort into it. Now it's possible, at least like week 2 of the preseason, we see JJ McCarthy get a full game, get a lot of reps under him. We'll know before this game actually kicks off as to how they're going to treat JJ McCarthy. Are they giving him a full workload, or what? How are they planning on using him? But even if they were to give him a half, I don't think that's going to be enough to win in this game. Because I do think that the Vikings, whether it's just the second half or the last 3 quarters or maybe the whole game, I don't think they're going to have their starters out there. They're definitely not trying to put anything on tape for opponents to take a look at. So, give me the Titans to win in preseason week 3, and that's it, guys. Those are the 4 games that really stick out to me. For right now, again, obviously there's not really a lot of lines out there for these games, so keep an eye on it. Know what you're looking for. Put these down somewhere. Next video will be coming out next Monday. Like I said, we're trying to stay on like a Monday, Wednesday schedule here. So hopefully this was helpful. Hopefully you liked the story time here. Appreciate you guys listening, always coming back. Thank you. Please like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff below. I will give you guys any news, updates, word, as I have some new things coming out this season. Again, like a website, like a newspaper, articles, things like that. So hopefully speak with you guys soon, and y'all have a great day.